All right, so my first unboxing video is going to be, as you can see from Team Covenant here is where I got mine. This is KeyForge, a game that I've been really excited about trying out ever since I saw it advertised and played. And what we've done is we've gotten the starter pack as well as a display box. I'm not sure which one this one is. This one looks like the starter pack. Oh, that's very thoughtful. Look at this. Little. This is the first time I've dealt with Team Covenant. Looks like they really got their stuff together. We'll just put that over there and get to the exciting stuff. Alright, so this looks like the starter pack. Let me go ahead and take the plastic off and see what comes inside here. Now the cool thing about KeyForge, from Richard Garfield, who created Magic. I was a Magic fan for quite some time. The Magic became a little bit expensive, and there are also a lot of things in Magic, the game of Magic, that I came to not appreciate so much. Namely that you are facing an opponent that you're trying to kill. That's kind of the premise of the game. Also, there's the potential for being mana screwed, either too much or not enough mana. This game plays completely differently. These right here are amber. It's the only resource in the game. It's not really a resource, more like a counter. These are damage counters. Damage is sticky in this one, which is nice. I'm pretty sure that these are key tokens. It looks like when you forge a key, maybe turn it over. I don't know. We'll find out when we look at the instructions. So this is one unique 37 card Archon deck. That's going to be 37 cards. So this is one of the procedurally generated decks. Another thing about Magic is if you play Magic, you've got deck combinations that are played by a lot of pros in tournaments that kind of define the game. And if you want to be competitive, not that I play tournaments, but if you did, you kind of had to go out and buy a game or a deck, enough cards to build a deck that would be competitive in the meta game. This is totally opposite that, in that you can't, with this game, build decks. These, I think, are two starter decks. Let's just go ahead and open these up. There's a lot of cards. It looks like more than 2 decks worth. So we'll get to this guy later. This is one starter deck right here. Radiant Argus the Supreme. Okay, that's the name of the Archon. And notice that right here it's got symbols of houses. Logos, Sanctum, and Untamed. So there's 7 houses in this game world. And each of the card backs of this deck have got the name of the Archon, and they've got all the houses in there. This right here contains a list of all the cards in the deck. And this deck here, Radiant Argus the Supreme and Miss Onyx Censorious, these should be non-unique starter decks that you can use to get a feel for how the game works. And in this one, the houses are Brobnar, Dis, and Shadows. So again, 7 houses total. Those are 3 decks representing 3 houses each. I'm not sure what these are right here. These look like cards that will help you play the game. Okay. I have no idea what these are for. And, chain tracker. So I don't know how chains works. I do know that in this game, again, these decks here have got fixed cards. And so this deck list, there are going to be tons of these. In every starter deck, you're going to have one of these. In other words, Miss Onyx Censorious, and one Radiant Argus the Supreme deck. And they're going to have all the same exact cards in them. The nice thing about this game is that the decks that come out are going to be unique because they're procedurally generated, and so there's not going to be any other deck like that in the world. The other nice thing about it is that you can't deck build. So you see this one right here. This is my first ever KeyForge procedurally generated deck. There's nothing like it in the world. There's no other deck out there in the KeyForge world that is called K. Fuller, the Pub Musician. Interesting. It would be interesting to know where they get these names from. This right here is the deck list for my Brobnar Dis Shadows deck. And this is the QR code for this particular deck. So if I took this deck to a tournament, they would scan this and they would know all the cards I'm playing with. And if for whatever reason I weren't playing with these particular specific cards, the deck would be invalid. You see it's got its unique back with the name of the Archon, K. Fuller, the Pub Musician. And that's it. This is the only one of these in the world. Only one there has been, only one there ever will be, unless somehow their system for generating the decks becomes broken. And this one, this is another one. This is how they'll be sold in retail packages. One thing that I think is interesting about this is I can't see from the outside of the package. I have no idea which houses are involved. So when we brought this one out, this one was Shadows Brobnar Dis, which is, those are the 3 houses for that one. So this right here is the second of the procedurally generated decks that comes in the starter pack. Let's just open it up and see what 3 houses we get there. Okay, now it's still sealed, but I can see that this one has got Brobnar, Logos, and Mars. I'm not going to open this one yet. The reason I'm not going to open it is because I don't know if I'm going to like that combination. So my plan is to keep these decks that have got the different house combinations until I get a feel for which house combinations I kind of like more, or how I like the ones that I have here. These just with the 2 starters, and then again my first ever procedurally generated KeyForge deck. I'll play this one a little bit, and I'll get a feel for the different houses. Might open this one, might not. One cool thing that I did is with Team Covenant, I'm going to pitch them even though they're not sponsoring me. Team Covenant has got a subscription service, and it gets you a little bit of a discount on retail. And that's for something called a display pack, and that's what this is right here. So once you get the starter deck and you have everything needed to play, that was kind of anticlimactic right there. I thought it was going to be bigger. Okay. Once you have everything that you need to play the game, then it's about getting your decks. And remember, in Magic, you don't get decks, you get cards, and then you build decks. This game is the opposite. It's not a deck building game at all. You're not allowed to build a deck. What you do is you go out to your local store, and there will be displays that look like this right here. And sitting in the display will be 12 decks. As we've seen from our other 2 decks, the packaging on these is going to be exactly the same as on our the ones that came included in our starter kit. And every deck that's in one of these boxes here is going to be unique. It's going to be one of a kind. It will have a combination of 3 houses, although as we've seen, we can't see from the outside which houses those will be. And it will have 37 cards, 1 Archon card with a card list, and then the other 36 cards will be 12 cards from each of the 3 houses. Let's go ahead and see what we've got here. We've got Grezsum, the Paladin of Surveillance. I really like that name. Mars, Sanctum Shadows. All right, and I'm gonna leave these again sealed for now until I get a feel for which house combinations I like. I don't even need to open all these right now. I'll do one more real quick and just see which combination of houses we got. And it looks like this one is the Mistress That Steps on Threats. I like that name. And this one's Brobnar Dis Sanctum. So I'm unfamiliar with the total with all the cards in the series. I don't know how many that there are. So I don't know how many combinations there are, but there are enough combinations that you're never going to get 2 of the same deck. The system they're using for enforcing this is unknown to me. These KeyForge cards do appear to be standard size, so they should probably fit your typical deck protectors. So these are some KMC Hypermac sleeves. These have been my favorite for some time. And as expected, your typical standard size card sleeves. I say standard size meaning if you're familiar with either Magic or if you've been playing Star Wars Destiny, your typical trading card. I'm pretty sure Yu-Gi-Oh, Force of Will, pretty much your standard card sleeve is going to fit these just great. There's a little bit of room, a little bit of play on here, but they seem to be almost exactly the same size as other typical trading cards, and so any sleeves that you have or the ones that you normally like to use should work just fine on these. With the deck sleeved, which is how I always like to play with my cards to keep them nice, it is substantially thinner than most of your other decks that you might play with, the Destiny or Magic. And so I'm going to sleeve another one up and see if maybe 2 decks will fit into one standard size deck box. All right, we've got here 2 decks sleeved. 36 cards will do it because you're not going to be actually playing with your deck list card. Pretty sure that doesn't go anywhere, so you can sleeve it if you want. But what I've got is 2 decks here, and we've got your standard size deck box that will fit typically one Magic deck. So 36 cards is it's roughly equivalent to what you would get in a Magic deck if you took out the land. You're not going to get many more than that. So we're going to see if we can fit... Oh, and this fits really well. Look at this. So 2 KeyForge decks, sleeved, fit really well into your standard deck box. Which means in the other types of deck boxes, for example, this one right here, it's going to fit no problem. You're going to be able to fit 2 fully sleeved decks and probably these other cards that come in the starter kit. Change trackers, stun tokens, +1 power tokens. Looks like those are the only 3 that come. But even if you wanted to sleeve these and use them, you could fit them in here as well in this commander size box. And if you're gonna go crazy, you might even want to try one of these because I started getting these when I played a little bit of Destiny. The cards are obviously going to fit great in here. And again, this is going to be 2 sleeved decks, easy, plus these cards sleeved as well will fit in here. And then underneath, with these, you have an area for a bunch of the tokens that you need to place. So that's how sleeved decks fit in your typical size deck boxes. One idea that I think, I don't know how to get Richard Garfield's attention on this. Maybe I'll just email him and see if he picks up my message. I think it would be really cool, since this right here, this deck right here, this is a one and only. And so if you play this and some of the cards wear out or some of your card backs get marks on them, I think it'd be really cool to be able to take this deck intact, all 37 cards with this list and this QR code, and package it up, send it off for a nominal fee, and get it reprinted so that you can have a brand new version of this. I think that would be a great service. I don't know if it's something they've thought about. I'll probably be suggesting it. In the meantime, that's what you get in the starter set right here, along with, I didn't go through these. It looks like we got, oh, that's a catalog. I thought this was an instruction manual. No, this is advertisements for other Fantasy Flight games. So that's a Fantasy Flight catalog for, when you have unlimited funding. And then this right here looks like, oh, here we go. This is the quick start rules and a quick reference. Okay, not much to it. There are probably detailed rules online. I know for a fact you can see some really great playthroughs. Team Covenant has put some online, and there are also some others. There's even one I watched with Richard Garfield where he was the one going through and explaining his actions turn by turn and explaining some of the feel of the game. Really excited to get into it and see if it's as fun as it looked when they played it online. Hope you enjoyed.